This is Sandy with Cartoons and Disney.
All right, as we say in Harambe,
Save 45 minutes with a lot
let's go.
an hour and 15 minutes.
If you have young children sitting on your lap, that's fine. Just make sure if that's where they're at now, that's where they remain throughout the entire safari. Not standing on your lap, not being held up in the air. It's going to get really bumpy out there. If you have any loose articles, you're going to hold on really tight to those as well. Again, it is going to get bumpy, and we're not allowed to stop for any items which may fall out of the vehicle. Now, if you happen to drop something, let me know. We'll have somebody go out there and get that for you. You'll get it back at some point. It is not going to look the same as when you dropped it. There are going to be some tire tracks or hoof marks on there. Alright, we're going to hold here for just a moment until we get the all clear. My name's Louis. I'll be your safari guide as we head out into the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. While we're out there, I'm going to ask, please do not call out, whistle, or try to attract the animals to the truck in any way. That's for their safety as well as ours. Conversations, comments, they're fine. Just please keep them at a minimum and at a volume that doesn't alarm the animals or disrupt the guests around you. And once again, Twende, let's go. All right, that was a high-speed portion of our safari. It's over. You're gonna throw your hands up. That was the time. And now that that's out of our system, we're entering the Little Ituri Forest. Here, a lot of animals depend on natural camouflage for protection. If you look on the right side, there's a couple of okapi. The white stripes on their legs make them look a lot like zebras, but they are related to giraffes. And if you get a look at that face and head, you might see the family resemblance. If you're taking pictures, keep the cameras and the cell phones handy. You never know when the animals are going to pop up. So picture of an okapi can turn into a really, really cool picture of a tree if you're trying to get a camera ready. Foliage is nice. I think the animals are way cooler. All right, really cool across. Let's see. Across the water on the left, there is a black rhino. Black rhinos can weigh about 3,000 pounds, fully grown. Very endangered animals, only about 5,000 left in the entire world. If you haven't seen it yet, look right next to this fallen tree right here on the left.
Oh, yeah.
The horns on rhinos are not actual horns. They're not attached to their skulls, and they're made of keratin, like our hair and fingernails instead of bone. As we go by, look back. If you can see the upper lip, it's almost like a little tiny elephant trunk. It is prehensile. They use that for grabbing leaves off of branches and bushes. All right, over on the right side, the reddish brown animals in the back are bongos. The beige animal right there in the bushes is a greater kudu. She's a female, and we know that because she doesn't have horns. Only the male kudus have horns. With the bongos, both male and female have them. They're kind of swept back. That allows them to run through the woods without getting caught up on anything. The horns on the rhino, that's the reason they're hunted. And we do support several groups that are working really hard to educate people about not using rhino horn products. We're entering the Safi River area. We're going to be looking for hippos. They're one of the largest and one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. Full-grown males can weigh around 5,000 pounds. Hippos spend most of their time in the water, so we are going to look down in the water for them. They can hold their breath for about 5 to 8 minutes, depending on their activity level. And to prove me wrong, there's hippos on land. Pink-eyed pelicans on the right side. They get their name from the color on their backs during their mating season. All right, so really cool thing with the hippos. If you notice, they look like they have a sunburn. They secrete an oily substance that acts like a natural sunscreen, but it has a red pigment, so it makes it look like they have a sunburn while protecting them from it. If you were to rub your hands on a hippo, you'd get that red stuff all over your hand. As a side note, don't ever rub your hands on a hippo. It's a terrible idea. Look to the left, there's quite a few of them right there in the water. There's a baby hippo with her head resting on top of her mom. Yeah, those are the correct sounds to make when you see a baby hippo. They can swim, but they tend to run or walk underwater, and it does work. They move extremely well. And while they don't have a typical runner's body, they're quick on land. They run up to about 20 miles an hour. That's a lot faster than most of us, even riding a bicycle. All right, we're going to cross the bridge. Going to go pole pole. That is Swahili. It means very slow. On the left, Nile crocodiles. They're found all over sub-Saharan Africa. They can reach over 16 feet in length, fully grown. The open mouth looks really scary. It's actually one of the ways they regulate their body temperature. Still scary, but they're just trying to cool down. They'll live about 60 to about 40 years actually in the wild. In captivity, about twice that long. Just around the turn on the right side of the path, there is a baobab tree, also known as an upside down tree. If you look at the branches, you'll see they look a lot like tree roots, giving it that name. We're heading into the savanna. The animals shape the landscape with their eating habits. Elephants push trees over for food. Giraffes eat the under canopy of the trees. Grazing animals eat the grass. And all of that combined gives a savanna that very clean, open look it normally has. If you look at the under canopy of the trees out in the clearing, there's almost a straight line all the way across. That's as high up as the giraffes can reach with their mouth. Those trees are delicious enough to eat everything within their reach. And there are a lot of animals just ahead. So if you look to the right, going back behind the fallen tree, that is an Ankole cattle. Look at the size of the horns. Look at the thickness of the horns. Lots of giraffes off in the distance. They're the tallest animals. They top out at around 20 feet. Out here, these are Maasai giraffes. They have this irregular, kind of jagged pattern on their coat. There's one right in front of that truck, and we're going to see how that plays out because you won't see this in documentaries, but giraffes love staying in front of trucks. So that might become an issue. More Ankole cattle coming up here on the right. Now their horns are made of a honeycomb material inside, and blood flows in there. They're like radiators that regulates their body temperature. The one closer to us is a bull, and he's only been on the reserve about 2.5 months maybe. But hopefully that means at some point in the near future we'll have little baby Ankole cattle. They're also known as Watusi cattle, named after the tribe that domesticated them. And yeah, that giraffe stopped in front of that truck, so we're holding. Figured there was a chance that would happen. Just up ahead, past the trucks right here in front of us, I can see a Hartmann zebra over there. Once we get moving, we should get a pretty good look. Oh, there comes that bull. Look at the thickness of the horns on the bull. They can actually get about 2.5 times thicker than that. They get to the point where they actually don't look real anymore. Yeah, I mentioned how the giraffes love the taste of these trees. That wire mesh keeps them from taking all the trees down. Yeah, they would eat everything that they can get their mouth on. Yeah. Yeah, so there was a male out here that went to another reserve, and he was quite a bit taller than all the giraffes out here right now. Since he left, the canopy has actually dropped a little bit. If you look back to the right, you still see a couple of the giraffes over there. Hopefully they move, or they convince the other one that that's not a good place to
There they
stand.
are.
Very visible animals. They're so tall, of course. In part because of that, people didn't realize when their numbers started dropping. A few years back, these researchers are doing a study, and as a side project, they counted the giraffes in the area they were in, and they're kind of shocked at how few of them there were. Eventually, that turned into a much broader study, and they basically went all over Africa counting giraffes. What they found at the end of that was only about 10% of the giraffes that we thought existed still did. So kind of overnight when that study was published, the giraffe numbers realized just how low they were. It's kind of a new thing, but it's an important thing, so giraffe conservation. I did actually got a chance to meet with those researchers, and they're kind of shocked at what they found. There's actually, I think there's about 4, maybe 5 times more elephants than there are giraffes. Well, looks like there's some movement finally. All right, look over to the left, right at the base of that tree. That is a painted dog. There's actually quite a few of them right there. They look a little bit cuddly. They're not. They are the most successful predatory mammals in all of Africa, more than lions or cheetahs or hyenas. If you ever get a chance to hear them, they don't bark. They sound like squeaky toys. Really, really cute. Makes you want to go there and pet them. It's a trap. Don't do that. Yeah, they're really cute. They're really smart, but they're very aggressive. All right, all the way back to the left, sable antelope laying down back there. If you look at the logo for Harambe Wildlife Reserve, that's the animal on there. And that's because the word Harambe means to come together. When sable antelope are threatened, instead of scattering and running off, they actually come together and face a threat. Again, Hartmann zebras, they have a very dense stripe pattern across their head, neck, and back. No stripes on their bellies. The one furthest to the left, you might be able to see it. They have a little bit of extra skin that hangs down. Actually, the one laying down right there, you can see that skin hanging at the bottom of the neck. That's called a dewlap. There's a bunch of blood vessels in there, and that helps them regulate their body temperature. Pretty common thing with animals like antelope, but they're the only type of zebra that has that. All right, young giraffe in front of us. There are a couple of eland, male closer to us, female right behind. They're the largest of the antelope. These guys are all muscle. That male eland weighs about as much as that giraffe. And very cool. That guy's about 3 years old, the giraffe. And there's another giraffe blocking the path up there. That's a very young giraffe, actually. That might be the youngest one on the reserve. He's a little bit over a year old. But no, they're going to stay on the path. Yeah, that's kind of their thing. So now the eland back there, again, largest of the antelope. Average male is about 6 feet tall at the shoulder, and they can weigh well over a ton. At that size, that guy can hop 8 feet up in the air from a standstill. So 8-foot vertical leap from a 1-ton animal is pretty impressive. When he wants to impress the ladies, he'll decorate his horns. And actually, if you look back, you look at him next to that truck, gives you a better idea of how big he is compared to the people on that truck. But yeah, when he wants to impress the ladies, he'll decorate his horns. They call that a crown. And you'll see him walking around with vines and flowers. Looks like something out of the 60s. Very stylish. He's a pretty cool guy. So years back, his dad was out here. His dad was massive. And he was out here in this clearing one time. And 3 ladies were walking by. He didn't have a crown on. Didn't know what to do. So he stuck his horns into the sod. Pulled up a big chunk of earth. Looked like a big Russian hat. All 3 of them stopped. So he knew what he was doing. Ankoli cattle once again. And lots of giraffes around the turn. Now giraffes have one of the largest hearts of any land animal, one of the highest regular blood pressures. There's a lot of them right there. When they're standing around like this in a group, this is a tower of giraffes. If the group is on the move, it would be called a journey of giraffes. The one right there by itself in the middle just started walking. That is the youngest giraffe on the reserve. That's the one I was saying, just a little bit over a year old. His mom is right there next to the ridge, darker color. The short horns on the head are called ossicones. A very long prehensile tongue. You see him licking that tree. Look to the left, there's that guy's about 4 years old.
Oh, I didn't see him.
They have a very long prehensile tongue, about 16 to 18 inches long in the adults. A couple of elephants ahead. Now, elephants are the largest land animals. Full-grown males average around 12,000 pounds. They'll eat about 300 to 500 pounds of food a day. On the left, we're going to look for mantles, the largest of the monkeys. There might be some in the bushes and the trees. If they're not moving, though, it is kind of hard to see them. There's one all the way in that back left corner. There's a couple of them back there. Another one. You see them walking by back there. They all have red and blue on their snouts. Think Rafiki. Rafiki is a mandrill. There's another one. A lot of traffic back there. If you look to the right, the elephant closest to us is mom, and that's her daughter all the way in the back. The elephant herds are made up of females and they're young. When the males reach maturity, they have to leave the herd because they get really aggressive and unpredictable. And it's just not really safe for them to be around at that point. When they're younger, sometimes the males will join these small bachelor groups. As they get older, they get more solitary and eventually end up living on their own. There's mom right there. Alright, we're going to cross another bridge. Going to go pole once again. And as you can see, the bridge doesn't look great. Doesn't really feel that good either. But it does hold up just fine most of the time. And you can see where they have been working on it. These zip ties on the left are new. On the right side, there are tusk marks. Elephants will eat red clay, provides them with minerals missing in their diet, like a supplement for them. Let's see. Researchers here at Harambe Wildlife Reserve found that elephants are really afraid of bees, so they developed beehive fences for use around farms. When the elephants bump the fence, the bees come out buzzing. The sound scares the elephants away, and we avoid a conflict between them and the farmers. Always a good thing. There's one right up ahead. An elephant, not a bee. You're going to see them flap their ears. They have a lot of blood vessels in their ears. When they flap them, the air circulating cools the blood down, and that cools down their body temperature. And this is actually a young male elephant right here on the left. Now they're trying to start a bachelor group on the reserve. It's kind of a work in progress right now. I just see him by himself. There he is. So kind of an interesting thing. Look at his tail. If you can see the hair on his tail, it is very short and scraggly. There's another young guy that likes sneaking up behind him and pulling his hair out. That hair should be about 4 feet long. You can actually see the blood vessels in the ears, by the way. Elephants will live about 60 to 65 years on average. Their childhood is about the same as ours, around 15 years, where ours is around 17 or 25. Depends. Greater flamingos are the largest and the lightest in color of the flamingos. They get their color from the brine shrimp today, which is really high in keratin. The ones out here with darker feathers and darker legs are juveniles. As they get older, they're going to eat more of the shrimp, and they'll develop more of that pink color. Group of flamingos is called the flamboyants. If you look through the tall grass back there, there's some more elephants all the way in the back. There's another elephant right there. So that elephant right there, that's the one that sneaks up behind the other guy and pulls his hair. Look at the hair on his tail. See how long and lustrous? That's what it should look like. All right, as we come around the turn, there are quite a few rhinos right across the clearing. We're going to make a point not to make any loud sounds or yell out because they can react, and as you might imagine, that's bad. Right now, the rhinos can hear us and they can smell us. They cannot see us at all. They have terrible eyesight. They need to be about 10 feet away before they can see us clearly. If you watch their ears are going to pivot around. That's how they keep track of what's going on. Those are white rhinos. They average about 5,500 pounds, and they can run up to 35 miles an hour, which is pretty incredible for an animal that size. They can actually gallop like a horse. All 4 feet will come off the ground at the same time when they're running. If you ever get a chance to see that, pretty amazing. If they're running at you, it's really scary. Very, very quick, very light on their feet. There's a baby rhino. Actually, that's a really big baby rhino. He's nursing over there. He's about 2 years old. The one laying down right there is about 18 months. If you're wondering what separates the rhinos from us, we do have the logs right there. There's a lot of flowers. Cheetah right on our left. There's another one laying down in the clearing. There's one rocking right there by the rocks. They are the fastest land mammals. They run well over 60 miles an hour. But the long, thick tail is like a rudder. It stabilizes them when they're running really fast, helps them make better turns. They have teardrop-looking marks under their eyes that help them with the glare from the sun. Let's see, there's another one laying down up there on the left. When they're in a group like that, by the way, that is a coalition of cheetahs. Beautiful animals. Rock formation ahead is called a copy. Animals climb up there, gives them a great view. You see if their predators are coming around or their prey, depending on what they're. One of the differences between cheetahs and all of the other cats is that they don't have fully retractable claws. Cheetahs' claws are always sticking out. Gives them better traction when they're running really fast. There's an ostrich right in front of us. Largest birds. They are flightless. Thank goodness for that. There's another ostrich harassing that truck all the way over on the right. That's kind of their thing. Male lion coming up right there on the left. Get those cameras and cell phones ready. We might get a pretty good picture out of this. Lions are one of the few big cats that hunt as a group or a pride. Females are the majority of that. It takes a lot of energy and they'll rest or sleep about 20 hours a day. They're nocturnal, so this time of day, that's kind of what they do. And I think they look pretty cool doing just that. Beautiful, beautiful. I'll move up just a little bit, see if we can get a look at that face. That's an awesome picture. Maybe you're going to post that on social media, hashtag best safari driver ever. It's an option. Kind of a cool thing, that male right there, if you've ever watched the live action Lion King movie, he was adult Simba in the movie. When they were making that movie, they came out here and took pictures of him, and that's what they used for their modeling. So he's kind of a celebrity. He doesn't know that, but he is. Or maybe he does. I don't know. Look to the left. There's a couple of warthogs laying down right there. They are the largest burrowing mammals in Africa. They use their tusks for digging and for defending themselves. Closely related to domestic pigs, very, very aggressive. Kind of a cool thing with the lions, if you've ever heard lions roaring on TV or in the movies, especially the beginning of a movie, what you're hearing almost every time, that's actually a tiger. They use a tiger's roar, they dub that over the lions. Hollywood decided way back in the beginning that that sounded better, and that's pretty much what they've been using ever since. If you get a chance to hear a lion in person, it is going to sound a lot more like a long cough or a throat clearing. Still pretty cool, just a little bit different from what you might be used to. Right in front of the warden's post, that yellow box hanging on the stand is a beehive fence, like I mentioned with the elephants. You don't have to worry about technology failing or a power outage. It's a beehive. It gets bumped. Bees come out buzzing. That's what they do. It pretty much always works. Nigerian dwarf goats. Aside from just kind of hanging out, looking adorable, they are really beneficial animals. They provide things like milk and cheese. They don't take up a lot of space. That's made them really popular. They've been exported all over the world, and they can be a lot of fun to watch sometimes. They do produce a lot of milk for their size. Alright, we're at the outskirts of Harambe village, and that does mean our safari is coming to an end. If you want to see more animals, you can walk down the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. A lot of cool stuff going on there. If you're interested in helping protect wild animals, you can reach out to any of the conservation associations, including our own, of course. And you can make donations, but really anything you can do to raise awareness is going to be helpful. And that could be as simple as sharing photographs or videos you've taken, having conversation, talking about some of the issues facing the animals. All of that really does help. Here at Harambe, we don't like to say goodbye. It's a bit permanent. Instead, we say Kwaharini. Kwaharini means to go well. And I hope you go well and have a great rest of your day. Before you leave the truck, check your seats, check your rows. Make sure you haven't dropped anything. It's very easy to do that with all the bumping around. When you get off at the exit, out on the path right behind the old truck, there's a viewing area. Take a peek. Sometimes gorillas are hanging around. If they happen to be there, you get a pretty good look. Definitely worth checking that out. As you walk a little further up the path, you're going to see a stroller parking area. If you use a standby line and you had a stroller, that's where it's going to be at. To the right of that, if you go through those arches, that's going to take you out of the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. If you've never been on the trail before, I definitely recommend you make that right turn.
coming.
Alright, once again, my name is Lewis. I really hope you had a good time on your safari today. On the right side, watch your arms, hands, legs, and feet. Doors are going to slide open. Watch you step down. Kwaharini, have a great day out there. You're very welcome.
That was a full ride at Kilimanjaro for Safari and Animal Kingdom.